Alex Brown, North Carolina delegate, and I'd like to reserve my right to yield my time to Representative Norton from Texas.
That is your right.
Good. I support gay marriage, and that is specifically why I oppose this proposal. We don't need to take away privileges from everyone else to even the playing field, so to speak. We need to give homosexuals as even citizens of the United States the same privileges as everybody else. We do not need to take away rights from other people. Marriage is an integral part of our society, and homosexuals deserve to participate as endowed citizens of the United States. Also, marriage often has nothing to do with religion. As clarified earlier, people from separate religions can get married. With that, I use my time personally.
Taylor Norton, Tennessee. My understanding of this is that the goal is to check or eliminate discrimination, but I don't think that by simply changing the label of a union of two people that this can be accomplished, because it's true that for many people they object to this on moral or spiritual grounds, but I think there's an equal number, if not including those, who object to it simply because it's a lifestyle that's different from their own. And I think that simply by changing this label, it won't take care of the problem. I don't think it will change the minds. There will still be discrimination against homosexual civil unions by heterosexual civil unions. I yield my time.
For Washington, I'd like to reserve my right to yield my time to Delegate Sheldon from Washington.
That is in order.
Ladies and gentlemen, someone in this room once called the term civil union cold, unfeeling. This is the exact same kind of bureaucratic terminology that gay citizens are forced to endure every single day. Civil union, partnership, domestic partner. I feel almost as if that if we should put in politically correct labels, I believe other citizens should as well. Because it's not just a matter of being politically correct, it's being correct, period. The plain fact is that marriage is a religious institution. Yes, our country is based on it. Yes, our country is based on family. But our country is also based on the fact of naming things the correct thing that they should be named. I mean, we give certain terms to things all the time. I simply think that this is a neutral term we can all agree upon. And those who don't want gay people to get married, well, it's not a marriage. It's simply a union. I yield the remainder of my time to Sheldon from Washington.
Delegate, you have 50 seconds.
Tucker Shalvin, Washington Delegation. Thank you, Madam Chair. Guys, let me be clear. The best things in our country have always come through compromise. Look at our Constitution. And the fact remains is that there's always going to be a class of people in our country that believe that marriage is a religious institution between a man and a woman. That's their right, and I respect that. What this proposal is about making, the contract between the government, between two consenting people, something that any two people can share, and marriage about you, your partner, and your God, however your church chooses to define that. And I think that's awesome, because that makes your religion that makes your marriage something very deeply personal. And this makes a marriage something about equality, which is the first and foremost thing that we should be discussing as Americans. Please vote yes on this proposal. It is excellent.
Kendall Shalvin, Model United Nations Delegation. I reserve my right to yield time to Delegate Hallstrom from Model United Nations.
That's your right.
This is a proposal about terminology. Marriage is such a long-standing term and tradition that its alteration would greatly unsettle the minds of all American citizens. I completely agree with the intent of this proposal, but suggest that equal rights be given to both the term marriage as well as civil union. The elimination of the term marriage would result in an increase in divorce rates simply because the connotation behind the word marriage would be gone, which would then affect the lives of the children of these unions as well. I feel that the term change, if applied gradually by changing the outlook of society as a whole, would in the long run be more effective than a sudden change, which is suggested by this proposal. America needs to realize that homosexuals are just as equal as others, and so should bring the status of civil unions up to marriage instead of bringing the status of a marriage to a civil union, as this would symbolize the greater equality between homosexuals and heterosexuals. Homosexuals should not have to settle for the term that has discriminated against them for so long and should be given the equal standing as heterosexuals. I leave the remainder of my time to Delegate Hallstrom.
Delegate, you have 55 seconds.
Thank you, Jessica Hallstrom, Mali United Nations. Just to clarify, I am all for gay marriage. I don't think my daughter or son should have to settle for a civil union just because they're homosexual. They should be able to grow up and dream about getting married, about walking down the aisle and saying, I do in a marriage. I want my daughter to look at me and say, Mommy, I want to get married to the woman of my dreams if she so chooses. I don't want her to say, I want a civil union. I find that term degrading after all of the debates that have been going on. Marriage and nothing less is what the gay community should settle for. I yield the remainder of my time to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate.
Zach Burnett, representing Kentucky. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you guys for all the debate, both the pros and the cons, especially the cons. If you guys didn't get up here and debate against this would be absolutely no fun. So someone started off and said that they're not exactly sure. They said only God knows how long marriage has been around. Well, I am definitely not God, but I do know how long marriage has been around. It started in ancient Rome. Actually, couples, both heterosexual and homosexual, were allowed to be in unions that didn't have the marriage title until Constantine I, who was a Roman emperor, came in and Christianized the entire nation, after which point homosexuals were actually executed and definitely not allowed to marry. And for another historical example of the way that the word marriage carries a very strong religious connotation and burden is California's Proposition 8, which was strongly opposed by the Mormon Church. And another thing about that is churches don't, in general, oppose civil unions. You don't see the Mormon Church raising millions of dollars to launch a huge campaign against a proposition saying that gays can access equal legal rights under a civil union. I'd just like to clarify that marriage is not going to go away by any means. People will still be able to get married, except it'll be in a religious realm, and people will be married through the church, just not by the government. And there's an argument that gays deserve marriage too. Under this proposal, they will be able to get married as long as a church recognizes it. There are denominations of church that do recognize gay marriage. So nobody is settling for anything under this proposal. Everyone has the rights to both the legal responsibilities under a civil union and the religious ceremonies and symbolism of marriage through the church. Okay. Someone also brought up the point that you need marriage to have a family. I'd like to strongly disagree with that. You do not need to be in a marriage to procreate or create a family. I think the definition of family has greatly changed over the last probably 120 years or so. No longer is a family just a mother, father, and some children. It can be a father, father, and some children, or a mother, mother, and some children, or just a father and some children, or just a mother and some children. So the argument that this is going to hurt the family unit in any way, I believe is completely invalid. There was also another concern about the sanctity of marriage being preserved. Well, the sanctity of marriage is being better preserved this way because there won't be couples who have no religious affiliation whatsoever.
I'm sorry, Delegate, your time is elapsed.